Ebonee's creativity.
Hey everybody, I'm Ebonee. This is Ebonee's Creativity. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. Today I am going to be doing kind of a continuation of my last video. In the last video, I tested whether spray painting furniture was just as effective or more effective as using chalk style paints on furniture. So if you have not watched that video, make sure you check that out right after this one. In this one, I'm going to be completing a furniture makeover using spray paint. So since we had some really great results from using spray paint in my test video, I am going to be completing a project using spray paint in this video. Also, I will be giving my pointers for how to spray paint. I don't really think there are any set rules. I think there are a couple of things that you can do when you're spray painting that will always give you a bad result. So I'm going to discuss a few of those things in this video, and I am going to go ahead and get started. But before I do that, I would like to request that you would subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And if you have, thank you so much for returning. Thank you all so much for watching, and let's go ahead and hop into the video. Okay, so here's the piece that we're going to be working on today. And if you did not watch my previous video, you probably don't know why this looks a little bit funky. It's got 3 different colors going on. If you didn't watch it, go check that one out. It's about spray painting. So in this video, we're just going to give this piece a whole new life. So I got this piece for free from Facebook Marketplace. It was just posted and a lady said, come get it. But it does have some texture on the top. I'm hoping you can see it here that I really don't like. And so we're going to see what we can do about this top. That texture is just really not cute to me. The top of this is MDF and the legs are real wood. So I'm just going to try to give it a sanding and see what becomes of that. I probably should not have used 40 grit. I knew better, but I don't know why I didn't do better. And I just wanted to see if I could get some of this texture down off the top. But what happened was I kind of ruined it. And so I had to, on the spot, come up with a new plan for the top of this. So I could sand the legs down with no problem. Like I said, they're real wood. This top part, I just made it go from bad to worse. Honestly, I don't know why I did that. I guess, I don't know what I was thinking. But you can see kind of here what happened to it. It just didn't get flat. And I went through the layers of paint into the MDF, which never would have gotten smooth. But I did come up with another plan, which you will see momentarily. So up next, I just went ahead and sanded down the legs. These are real wood, so I knew that there would be no problem doing that. So I just sanded. These legs had that same texture. I don't know if this was some kind of paint technique that was done to give it that look. I don't know, but I did not like that look, and I just wanted everything to be smooth. So I sanded all 4 legs as such, how you see me doing now, just with a piece of sandpaper, going up and down till I was able to knock that texture back. And the legs cleaned up pretty well, so I was really happy about that. Next, after I did all my sanding, I wiped this down. This is just vinegar, cleaning vinegar, and a microfiber cloth. And I'm just going to give it a really good clean. There's a lot of dust on here, a lot of dirt. And so I'm just wiping it down. That's what you see me doing here. So for the purposes of this video, I am going to be using spray paint. Rust-Oleum is one of my favorite brands. So I'm going to be taking this color here by Rust-Oleum, and I am going to start spray painting. A few of you left comments in my previous video that you would like some tips about spray painting. So you see me doing some things that are key here. Shaking well and then spraying off to the side just to make sure that the paint will not come sputtering out. You wouldn't want that. Any mistake that you make when you use spray paint will be seen on your final finish. So you want to make sure that the paint is not going to come out sputtering, because if it is to dry like that, you're going to see every mistake. That's the one con to spray painting. Spray paint does have its great purposes. It's quick to use. It comes in so many beautiful colors. It has okay coverage. But when you make mistakes, such as if you're spray painting and you get a paint drip, you will see that drip if you paint over it. If you've not done a good enough job with priming underneath, if you've not done a good enough job with sanding, Chalk paint is a little bit more forgiving because it's a lot thicker than spray paint. Spray paint shows any imperfections that are on your piece. So if you are spray painting something that is not in pristine condition, you will want to take extra care to flatten out the surface, smooth out the surface, whatever you have to do to make it perfect before spray painting. So that is one con to spray painting. Other than that, spray painting does have its good purposes. So you see me, how I'm working with the spray paint. I am doing long, even strokes. I'm not staying in one area too long. I'm not moving in closer to cover areas that are not covered on the first pass. The way you want to work with spray paint is to get the coat on and leave it. You don't want to keep going over the same area. You don't want to move in closer to cover something that's not covered on the first pass. It's not intended for perfect coverage on the first pass. So again, you see me here, I'm just kind of doing slow motions, up and down, left and right. The direction that you spray paint in, I don't think it really matters, but you don't want to be moving in close because that will create drips, and you don't want to stay in one area for too long because that will also create drips, and you don't want to spray paint over any area that has not been sanded or smoothed out prior to your spray painting, because then you will be able to see that through your final finish. So if there are areas that are not covered, which I have some on this piece, and I'll show you in the next clip what this looks like after my first pass. Don't panic, just let it dry and then come back to it. You don't want to keep trying to pile on spray paint. It's not going to give you a good finish. So again, I know it's tempting if you see areas that are not covered perfectly on the first pass to kind of hone in on those areas and just zoom in and spray paint that particular area, but you would not want to do that. You'll have to resist that impulse because you will get a bad result, and you just want to kind of keep up and down or left and right motions and just cover the area pass by pass, just coat by coat. You don't want to like thickly put it on there just to get it covered, because it's not going to give you a good result. All right, so as I said, here's how this looked after my first coat. You can see that there are some areas on the legs that are not completely covered. I'm not going to keep hitting those areas with spray paint. The top portion looks pretty good. You can see that's covered fairly well. But on the legs, there's a lot of areas that you can still see through. I'm going to resist the urge to go over those with spray paint, because it's just going to create a bad result. I'm going to let this completely dry, then revisit those areas on my second coat. And since I did lose a lot of the footage of me applying the second coat, I prepared this little aside for you so that I can give you as many tips as possible on how to spray paint. So like I said before, the first step you're going to want to do is to sand or smooth down the area that you will be spray painting, and make sure that you get it as smoothly as possible, because spray paint is not very forgiving and it does show any areas that you miss on your prep work. Next, you will want to wipe it down. I just use cleaning vinegar. And these are two pretty good brands of spray paint. Rust-Oleum is my favorite and Krylon is a strong second. They both are really good brands of spray paint. You do not want to do. As you can see, that's going to produce a lot of drips and not give you a really good finish. The key to this is nice even strokes. Now, because you're doing this by hand, sometimes you don't always get it perfect, and as you can see, there's some areas that did not get covered 100%. I don't want to keep going over it. I don't want to get closer so that I can try to hurry up and finish, because that produces drips as well. What I want to do, when I do get a drip, I kind of just smooth it out with my finger Then, if you need to, you can go back and sand it. And then you'll go over it with another coat. So, again, you're going to back up some. And on the second coat, you should get nice, good coverage. If you do get a drip, and you try to paint over it, the drip will still be visible, so you don't want to do that. You don't want to do this. Trying to hurry up and finish. That's not what you want to do. You can see the difference. This is a rushed job, and this is nice, smooth, even coats. So again, this is how you want to spray paint. You could even go this way, but not this, not that, and not that. Okay? Here's what I do have of me doing the second coat. It's really similar to the first coat, just doing long, slow strokes, not staying in the same area for too long. I'll show you how that turned out later, but next we are going to pop into what I did for the top. I started out with 3 packs of these paint stir sticks or craft sticks, but I only used 2. And what I did was cut off the rounded ends on both sides, and then I cut them in half. And I did all of that on my miter saw. And so I left them in the plastic packaging so that it was easier to cut. They were still bound while I was cutting them. Cut right through it, no problems, really easy to do on the saw. So I just cut them in half, and I'm using 2 packs here. I tested 2 different stain colors. I opted for the color on top, and that is the aged oak stain, the gel stain by Minwax. So that's what I'm showing you here. Tried a couple different methods to get this stain on these sticks. Started out using this foam brush, and I thought that was going to work out, but as you can see, it was kind of making a mess, and I did not want to continue doing that method. So then I started to try to hold them since they were moving around, and this worked out a little bit better, but it was just honestly taking too long and kind of making a bigger production out of this than I really wanted to have. So eventually I kicked the foam brush aside, and I just really got into this with my hands and kind of just did them one by one that way, which seemed to go a lot quicker than trying to do it with the brush. So I just kind of used this stain that was already on my gloves for most of these, and when it got a little bit dry, I just dipped my hands into the stain container and was able to finish this pretty quickly. So that's how I applied the stain to all the sticks, just rubbing it on by hand. Next, I took my tape measure and I measured the length of the table, and I marked the halfway point with a pen. So that's what you see me doing here. And that just kind of gave me a guide as to where I was going to lay my first stick. So I am going to go ahead and lay these out. My goal really wasn't to make it perfect, or I didn't really even have a pattern in mind, but I kind of went with this. I guess this is called a herringbone pattern, and I liked the way it was starting to look, so I just kind of went with it. And I just had my Gorilla Glue sticks and my glue gun, and I'm literally just putting these on here. I did figure that I had not stained enough of the sticks to cover the whole top, and I didn't want to go through that again. As you can see in the previous frames, it was kind of a mess, so I opted to mix in some of the plain colored sticks as well. So you see me laying those out, and then I'm going to use the same Gorilla Glue sticks to lay those down as well. So I really like how this part turned out. I thought it was pretty creative, if I do say so myself. So let me know what you think in the comments below. How would you have covered this top? Or if you think this was a good idea, leave me a comment, let me know. So as you can see, I do have some areas that are hanging over the edge, And my initial thought was to get like this really mini, small circular saw, but I'm just not confident with the circular saw. I could use the miter saw all day, but circular saw, it's just not my thing. So I didn't want to go and spend $100 or whatever, however much they cost. So I just decided to mark off what I needed to cut with a pencil and cut it. I found a really sharp knife and I just decided to cut it with the knife, and it worked. So I just marked off the area that needed to be cut, and I started out by pulling up the pieces that had to be cut. And you can see me here cutting them. These sticks are really easy to cut if you have a sharp knife. So that was really good. But I didn't feel like continuing to pick the pieces up. So eventually I went ahead and just started cutting them right on the table without pulling them off first. And that seemed to work just fine. I was able to score the pieces with this knife and then kind of bend it like you see me doing here and pop the excess right off. And the good thing about this was that those little excess pieces that I cut off fit perfectly into the smaller areas that needed to be covered. So this went much quicker than I thought it would. I was really happy with how well that turned out. So next I took this little Dremel tool and I just used it to clean up the edges. And as you can see, that turned out really well. Up next, I applied a coat of polyacrylic. As you can see, there's no particular way I'm doing this. I'm kind of just getting it on here with this big fluffy brush. Have you made it this far in my video without subscribing? If so, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Thumbs up the video to let me know that you liked it, or if you learned something from it. Leave me comments about what you'd like to see in the future. There are about 100 videos on this channel so far, and I am doing chit chat videos, thrifting videos, home decor videos, DIY videos, and furniture flip videos. So if any of that is intriguing to you, or if you have been to my channel before, please subscribe. Let me know what you learned from the video, what your favorite part or least favorite part about the video was. Just engage with me on this channel so that I know you guys are liking the content that I'm bringing. So that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Without further ado, I am going to show you this table makeover. So as you can see, spray painting is a great alternative, particularly if you are not reselling pieces and if you're just kind of doing it for your own use. It's a great way to switch up colors and not have to spend a lot of money. I think in total this project cost me maybe about $6 because I got the table for free. So I am a flipper, so spray painting is not something that I will probably do for my projects that I intend to sell. But just because I'm more inclined to use chalk paint, I know how they work, I'm a little bit more experienced with those, and I prefer brushing on my paint rather than spray painting. But you know, if like I said, if you're not a furniture seller, spray painting is a great way to change up the look of a piece, give it a new color, give it some new life, match any new decor choices that you might have been making around your home. So definitely keep it as a tool in your arsenal. I will be sticking to chalk paint, but this is a really good option. I prefer chalk paint. Like I said, I resell furniture, and I want to make sure that the finish is as durable as possible. Also, when you work with chalk style paints, they are much thicker than spray paint and much more forgiving. So if there's something that wasn't completely sanded the best, chalk paint, since it's so thick, it kind of helps give you an additional layer of coverage that the spray paint doesn't give you. Whatever mistake you spray paint over, it's gonna be just as visible as it was before. So again, I'm akin to using chalk paint, and that's what I'll stick to. But I really hope that you guys who want to spray paint, not just furniture, but anything around your home, will be able to use some of the tips that I gave in this video. If you have any other questions, please hit me up. You can email me, you can write me comments. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have the time, please select another one of my videos to watch from the choices on your screen. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys.